Guys, when I say new media, that is what I refer to myself as. It's killing the norms of what everybody is saying. And what everybody is saying is the same thing. Right now there's a discussion at least going on in the amongst the NBA community of who the future face of the association is. You have those that say, oh, it's SGA. You have those who say it's Scotty No Bag Barnes. You got people who say it's Tyrese Maxey. For me, I think you can look at a handful of guys, and I think you can say collectively that these guys will carry the torch. You think about it, guys like Kevin Durant, guys like LeBron James are a dying breed. They're done. The NBA that I grew up watching, that Daniel grew up watching, that you grew up watching, it's a bit of a changing of the guard happening. And no, Giannis Antetokounmpo with his 2 MVPs and 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards at almost 30 is not going to take that mantle and be the new face of the league. He had that opportunity. It didn't happen. Guess the league just wasn't gravitating to him as much, or maybe the fan base wasn't gravitating to him as much. So you have to ask yourself, is it going to be Joel Embiid? No, he's a big man who's dealt with injuries and he's getting into his 30s and he's probably not going to be able to take that leap. Nikola Jokic, that's a guy that's more in love with horses than he is with the actual game of basketball. So is Paolo Banchero. I'm sorry, doesn't do it for me. There is a guy that I'm looking at, though. 2 guys to be exact that I'm looking at, though. And it's the easy answer, but it's the obvious answer. Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards. They're 2 guys that I think are absolute game changers that absolutely move the needle. And my producer, Marissa's looking at me right now like I am an absolute idiot. And now she's looking back at the camera because I guess there's something that I said in there that was maybe jarring. I have no idea. I guess maybe because I'm a Celtics fan, you expected me to say Jayson Tatum. No, a guy that goes out there and scores 7 points in a game, a guy that goes out there and has complete duds in the playoffs is not going to be a guy that I will view as the future face of our association, our league. He may be, not even maybe, he is the future face of the Boston Celtics. He is their franchise face. But in terms of the actual face of the association, I think I'm looking at guys like Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic are 2 guys that I have seen with my own 2 eyes start games with 2 points. Start games scoring nothing in the first half and then go on to go for 30. That's what greatness is. They show up night in and night out. Even if they show up slow, they still show up night in and night out. Scotty Barnes can't be the face of the league. You can't be the face of the league scoring 6 points in a game. You can't be the face of the league absolutely doing nothing out there besides cardio for 3 quarters. You can't be. It just can't work that way. Those 2 are the 2 obvious answers. I like some young players that are in the league right now. I like Jayson Tatum. I like Jaylen Brown. I like Scotty Barnes. I like Donovan Mitchell. But when you talk about carrying the league, I'm talking about guys that are must-see television, guys that you want to see, guys that absolutely love the game of basketball and are indebted to the game of basketball. Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic are 2 guys that move the needle for me. Danny, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I think Luka Doncic is hands down going to be one of the faces of the NBA. I think you're leaving out a couple names, and let me just throw some names for you. I do think Jayson Tatum, looking at just their ages, I think Jayson Tatum deserves to be in that conversation with Anthony Edwards and with Luka Doncic because of the face that he's making, especially with the Boston Celtics community, just the big time shots he's making. The regular fans aren't seeing the play-to-play inconsistencies that we're seeing, right? Like as Celtics fans, we watch every game. We see, okay, he's taking crazy shots, but he's making some big time shots. He's dunking, making some big time plays. So for me, I put Jayson Tatum in that conversation. And there's a couple others. You can put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just because I think you have to. I think you have to, man. And this is the part of the conversation, man. Shai Gilgeous deserves to be in that because of where their team's going to go. They have an extremely talented team, and within the next couple of years, we're going to see them in the playoffs.
I'll say this. congratulations, Shai, you're in the conversation. Congratulations, Shai, you're out of the conversation. He was in the conversation briefly.
No,
Sure.
he deserves to be in the conversation
Not for me.
completely. Yes, he does.
Not for me.
Yes, and I don't know if we want to get into this big old debate right now about it, but just as the pace he plays at, the tempo he plays at, when you watch his games, man, he's just electric. Transition, he does it all. So he may not be the greatest 3-point shooter, but Shai deserves to be in there. And one last one, I'm gonna say it might be kind of a hot take. I think Tyrese Halliburton deserves to be in that conversation. The reason why I love his
Shai's not marketable. When have you ever heard this guy even given an entertaining to do any even speak? Well, like he's not marketable. Luka Doncic is a guy that I have single-handedly. I mean, and listen, let me just say, I'm not taking anything away from Shai. Shai's a fine player. Shai's a good player. Shai is a fine, good player. That's what he is. Just like Zion Williamson is he's a good player. But when I think about guys like that, I'm talking about guys that don't need a bunch of talent around them, guys that can literally take a team and uplift them. I have literally seen that with my eyes from Luka Doncic. I have seen that with my eyes from Luka Doncic drag his team into the playoffs with scraps. Now he's got Kyrie Irving. To me, the team was better when they didn't have Kyrie Irving. He was able to play around Luka's strengths and do the. Listen, I'm not knocking Kyrie. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying Luka's a guy that can do more with less. He's a guy that could do more with less. Left out, though. He's absolutely right. And it wasn't Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It wasn't Jayson Tatum, the guy left out. There's a guy, and I want to be very, very careful when I say this because he's young, he's new. Victor Wembanyama. That is a guy that I could see being in the conversation for face of the league. I'm talking about global superstar, global phenomenon. Like everybody loves Wemby, right? I think he's a guy that could be marketable because he has the scoring prowess, because he's just an absolute freak out there, is what I'm getting at. I think Anthony Edwards has a lot going for him because he is confident. He does say a lot of things. I also think there's a guy who could be the face of the league, but I don't know if he would be able to take that mantle because of some of the stuff that happened outside of basketball, and that's Ja Morant. Ja Morant is an electrifying player. People love to watch Ja Morant. People love to see Ja Morant play the game of basketball. Basketball is better when Ja Morant is playing. I'm sorry. I just think that some of the other guys that he named, not named Jayson Tatum, are forgettable. That's all I'm saying. I think Tyrese Halliburton is forgettable. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is forgettable. They're very talented basketball players. They will be the type of players that, when you ask players in the association, like, who's the hardest player that you've had to guard, or who's the hardest player that you had to play against, they'd be like, man, they won't get a lot of love. They won't get a lot of credit, but give me Tyrese Halliburton. Give me SGA. But in terms of the national perspective, perception. I'm sorry. I don't think anybody's mentioning SGA in there. I don't think anybody that's mentioning Tyrese Halliburton. That is not to say those guys aren't pure hoopers. They are pure hoopers. I'm talking about but you have to ask yourself what comes with being the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
And it's more than just going out there getting 30 a night, maybe having 10 assists, 5 boards or something like that. It's more than that. And to those guys' credits, they're hoopers. Tyrese Halliburton is a hooper. SGA is a hooper. Just not face of the league material, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. I think Victor Wembanyama is easily on his path. Luka Doncic has already proven it. I think the thing is Shai and Tyrese haven't proven it. Yes. For me, I think, and it may sound like hot take, I think Tyrese has more of a chance than Shai because of what he does on the mic, because of the big time shots he's hit, and because he's already proven it in the in-season tournament.
And because
Dame time.
And because look, we're not saying it, we're saying it, out saying it. If we're being honest with you, Shai's team is damn good. It's very good around him. Chet Holmgren, beast. Right? Jalen Williams, a guy that gets no respect, gets no love, problem. He's got guys. I know people don't want to say it, don't want to hear it. They hear boo every time the guy touches the ball, but he's talented, Josh Giddey. He's got guys around him. Yeah. Right? Now, I'm excited to see what Tyrese Halliburton does when he comes back with Pascal Siakam and that group of guys, Miles Turner, I guess. I'm excited to see what happens there, but I just think when you think about it, when you can have all the talent in the world, but there's more to being the face of basketball than just obviously the talent. But I think SGA, I think Tyrese Halliburton are very, very talented, but Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards are my two guys that I think are going to carry the league moving forward. I really believe that. Let us know down in the comment section what you guys think. Who is your future face of the NBA? Are we leaving out somebody? Maybe you think it's Bruce Brown. I have no idea, but let us know down in the comment section.